everything's done. What does that mean? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say everything's done? How we implicate that through the mind of inception itself is knowing the mind of itself, to understand the body of itself, all through self pattern, all in set position, all through operation settings, all through the body frame of communication. How we see is the directions of operation and network of you just existing already. But there's nothing to process if you think you're in a story. You can't evolve yourself if you don't really understand that your body's already been there. There's no identification, but what's trying to help you out is everything else that's giving you instructions. So the body adjusts its system and knows exactly what it's coming into. That's everything that it sees. Okay? And as you go through a story, you're not voluming yourself. You're not expanding yourself. Your body is not in balance of itself. Self-development, self-modification, self-identity, self-traction, self-communication, self-illusion, self-operational cycle. It gets very confused in the mind if it doesn't understand what it's already done through its equation. Right? But as a constant continuous force is for you to understand you are just you. Okay? Into all linings. So you can be you and creating programs at the same time. And that's more powerful for you to identify that. But for you to process that is through vision and cortex that's giving you through theta. But now you understand it going through a higher level of frequency, which is a running film strip that you projected inside your mind of imagination. Now, running the system is running you through operation sequence, or the operation sequence is running through you. So if you don't understand how to create a decision or understand it through its emotional, how are you going to understand you in lines of position? You're separating yourself, not identifying yourself, not what you are in self-identity. You don't want to lose your identities. You lose yourself, which means I'm not identifying myself anymore. Because all you're identifying is what you're seeing in front of you is the story that's confronting you of the story itself. But you're not telling a story. You're just you creating stories. You're always you. You're projecting always. You're observing everything. You are the onseer. You are the onlooker. You are the narrator. You're the observer. You're the objective. Okay? You are the operating of the data operating system that you process through. But when you're bringing self in, you're bringing an astral projection of you, and everybody else that you see is also the same. Just different frequency, same processing, different levels of simulation games. It's easy to create a game, but it's much harder to identify through an astral projections of yourself. Now, it's easy to see yourself, which is all formations of nothing, that masses everything through its equation. Okay? And that's what you guys have to modify through. And it's much easier for you to identify these things, 2025 line setting sequence, ground sand character, and modify 3 years in travel. Okay, so how do I see 3 years in travel? It's that position of settings of 2005. 2025, well, I don't live in 2025. I don't live in 2026. I live in all timelines all at once. Now, how I want to see myself in that position, I have to let everything go, knowing exactly how I can get more comfortable as I go through the seconds, minutes, and hours in frame. Once I understand that change the vetting system, it's all through travels, process and communication system that embeds you in set lines of communication. So there's no confusions in locations in how you see the eyes, the windows of the soul. Okay? So you're never locked in a time frame. You're never locked in a time format because you're always you. Always, always you. You are the me, you are the my, you are the self. Self-modification, self-identity, right? Self of all levels, how you see the optical illusion, how you live in the VR system. But see, I don't want anybody to get confused the time frame here. See, because this is all you know, 2025, that's all you're going to be, which is solid. But if you see yourself, identify what your body has already been gone through, that takes you a time frame. And how you see 2025. It's 2000 scale, it's 0 operation, it's 2 tractions and 5 division of travel. Because there's no time frame in 2025 if you're existing already all at once, because your body's already gone through this all through time. See, that's a teleportation, that's the travels, and correlations of communication to its position, to its operation, to its 144 flux. Zero and I are trying to get you to understand how to modify yourself and understand how to get position lines and settings into more minds of titles of defense. Now, title defense puts you in positions because if you don't have a title defense, you don't know who you are in frequency. So there is no resume that's given to you because that's a title, that's a label. That's limiting you of what you already are. That's not processing what you've already done. So your body is just adjusting everything through its astral projection that is done through its unit, its core, its divergence, its allegiance, and its alliance. That's all it is. So if the body sees 2026, okay, and you're still stuck in 2025, but you're modifying your set position now, you're seeing 2030. But here you are in the story, equals 3 dimension. Okay, and set position of its operation. 3 dimension, people. Not allowing yourself to expand yourself. All you're modifying through is just the story itself. That's a lot of confusion. See how that works? But you're running 3 programs all at once. Which one do you follow? You have no programming. See, you're never in a program, but you're going through programs. So that's what the team, the units, and everybody through the activations in that settings have to come into aligns, not to limit their self, not to get in position of confusion of their system or what they're doing through their betting system as they're trying to understand what they've already done through their body, through its equation. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand these things and how to see it through the astral projections of you. It's the astral projections that's been through this. And that gets very confusing where your body has already gone through this. And the more you let go, and the more you relax, you realize, oh my gosh, I saw myself in 2026 because you actually see the number. So you're letting things go now. So your body's starting to relax. It's starting to form. It's starting to shape. It's starting to see. It's starting to calculate. It's starting to modify. It's starting to understand how to use the system. It's starting to see in the body that it is a time machine of itself that's already been through its system, through the astral projection of itself, the modification. Now, processing through that, it's much easier to see that in set position of its calculation. Okay? So, you're not in 2026. You're not in 2027. You're not in 2028. Okay? Until your oversoul says so. Equals the equation of triangulation box. 2027, line position location, your higher self. Everything's in chronological order. You've been in programs, but you're not a program itself. It's just a program trying to identify itself through the body that has been through its oversoul. That's the land, that's mass, that's calculations and set position of its operation sequence. Now, get in that position locations, you don't get confused where you are in setting position, but you're always just yourself running a program. Now, if you're not yourself, you're just a program itself. That's not you. You always have to be in the picture, which is no picture, no design, right? But you're there through observation. So what you have to modify through and understand through identification is that you're seeing yourself how you want to see yourself in an astral projection of yourself. That's what's there. You're in a simulation game that you constantly keep creating. And the more you identify that through creation, the more understanding you see yourself in the simulation of the game that you've already done through its equation. Okay? So this is the game that you've already done. Okay, right there. Okay, so that's you here, that's you here, that's you here. Okay? All right, so you already done 2026, you already saw 2027, now you're seeing 2028. Let's modify everything that's given you in position of your phone in set position. There you go. There's your phone, right? So your phone is showing 2026, 2027, and 2028. Remember, everything around your system has already gone through time with you. Now, the body has to go through that in position location to Merkaba, Tessera, and Tetrarregion to its brains. The body has to go through it to know it's already gone through it. Okay? All through your phone. So everything you see is not a coincidence. Pay attention to that when you see the date, the month, the year. The phone is showing you exactly where your body's been already. Which means you've already gone through 365 in 2026. Which means you've gone through All levels of 360 line settings and travels in point graph communication system. It finds lines of sent lines of travel. It's that communication setting line, position, location, measure, and scale. And that position lines of settings. Which means you've already gone through 365 days, line, position, location. This is all through the Earth. Just the Earth itself. But you're going through Earth and space at the same time. That processes you in the communication system. How you go through modifying line, centered line, position 2026, 2027, and 2028 and set travel. This is already done. Now your body has to go through its system. Okay? Through its frames of hours, minutes, and seconds. That has gone through 2026. That has gone through 2027. That has already gone through 2028. Of frames of indication. All through embedding system. All through travel. All through communication. All through graph. All through setting of operation. All right. So this is going to help you to understand what you have to modify through because you're always a you. So if I'm always you, I'm always protecting myself. Identities are what I go through alteration of space and time. This helps me to understand who's running the operation of me in projection of what I see and how I see is an optical illusion that we go through projection, which is a portal, which is a stargate. Just an optical illusion how we see these things through astral projections of ourselves. Portals and stargates all at once. Triangulation, flux, ground centers, line sequence, lines pi. Very powerful stuff through a structure that puts in position to its operation setting. Okay, all through set position operation. So if you're seeing a structure of a building, that could be 2030. Oh wait, now we're in 2040. Now we're in 2050. You're seeing it through the assets that you've already done. It's a position operation. Right there. So that's 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades you're seeing in set position. That's 30 years. You're seeing 30 years ahead of schedule. That your body has to go through. So quiet the mind, calm the soul. So that's 30 years you've already gone through already. So there is nothing for you to do. If you've already gone through the decades, if you've already gone through the millenniums, okay, all through your assets to your properties. All right. So that's what we're going to focus on: time frame, time calculation times pi through algorithm. All right. All right. So I want you to really understand how you go through these years: days, months, seconds, minutes, hours, frames, time clocking, time settings. Nothing exists until you perceive consciousness. But to live the astral projection yourself is your unit, your core, your divergence, your allegiance, and your alliance. That's what you have to modify through. And then you ask yourself, and then you tell yourself, wait a minute, this is starting to make sense. So if I'm seeing myself, it's 12 p.m. Okay, it's 12 p.m., right? Now, try to remember, 12 p.m. is 1,000 hours, 200 minutes. You got to get technical because that comes to the astral projection that you've already gone through. So 1,200 minutes, right? That the body has already gone through at 12 p.m. Right? So that positions through its set lines of one cycle, which is one communications of 1 hour of convergence and setting and travel. So processing that in position location to its cycle, high generates the communication to its graphic communication. Helps you to identify your system of what your body's already been through its seconds, minutes, and hours, minutes, and seconds in position of its frame. So it's truly understanding you through time. It's truly understanding you through an algorithm of a format that you're running through a film strip that your body is constantly going through. That's all it is a running film strip that you have to modify yourself all through set lines of all communication, all through operation in your pyramids and set lines of travel. Oh yeah. Ask your projections, ask your connections of yourself. So data, assets, liquidizations, your equity, your performance, your proficiencies, your directions of what you're doing through your body as your body is going through time frame, through its embedding system, what it's already done, through its set calculation, a travel. Now, once it understands how to cross angles, knows how to go through location grids, line signals, process impositions, all through operation line condition setting to its perimeter of its primer. In that line screen adaptation system, it's knowing how to come into that setting because everything's created from inside, which is projected outside. Inside of you, outside of you through projection. Inside projection, outside projection. Inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, but all happening inside of you. So there's nothing outside of you. It's always outside, inside of you. So everything's created from inside. You're just projecting how you see things outside. And that's all through the astral projection of yourself. That's your divergence, your allegiance, your units, your cores, your sectors, vectors, and quadrants have already been through, which is time share, time calculation times pi. Stance precedes every location setting. Now, once you understand that, and you understand you are the astral projection of yourself, that your body has already gone through those years, months, days, seconds, minutes, and hours, then you come into what? The next level you come into position is your time replacements, is your doppelgangers. Now, doppelgangers are actually you. That you can place anywhere you want in your past, present, and future, but you're always in the future of the now. And that's one thing you can't get out of because you're always in the presence of everything. And how you indicate that and how you provide that is always, always, always of you. That you're programming through. That you're understanding the program itself. So if you understand you are the master, okay, you are the master domain of your system, the master domain of yourself, the master of you, puts you in all levels of mind altering the state that you're in through travel, teleportation, telecommunication, telegraphing, teleweaving, code weaving. Now understanding that through the existing puts you in all levels of all communications of no resistance. And then your body gets a lot more comfortable with what it's doing through its setting, through its own set position, its own operation of space and time. Okay, so the more you modify these things, the more you understand that through all levels of schematics that's given to you. That's 30 years ahead of schedule and 3 decades, guys, that the body's already been through. So universal law, and this is where it comes into Dolores Cannon. So, and in that position locations, you guys are going to see Dolores Cannon today. You're going to see Einstein, and you're going to see Tesla, okay, and Hawkins. So 4 communication line grounds, process lines, setting sequence, setting panels, setting operation line, 4 set position lines of travel. 4 indicate line ground centers. These are just programs. That's all it is. We're all programs. We're astral projections of our programs. I'm going to show you how powerful it is, how you see provisions of just pyramids of indication setting, that you're just astral projections of yourself through travel, of acceleration. Mocking your system is all through calculate and modify how you travel in that position of its operation cycle. But you are not there. You are the observer, watching and seeing everything that's going on with you as you are just you. All times, all levels of you. You are the me, you're myself, you're the I of everything that operates, everything in line position that implicates everything that you through identification of your story that you go through. Now, what you understand, you are just you, always you understand the programs of you. What you're processing through is 4 pyramids of activation. Implication, line grounds, high centers, high travels, high directions of location. Okay? All right. Now, understanding going through that is all through you. Okay? That's all you're bringing in is programs. That's all it is. And once you understand that, then you understand it through its pyramid. There it is. There's your pyramid. Okay? Grounding centers, high screens, directing ground centers line position, platitude lines, gravity line, lock lines, center locations of conversion. So you're always creating the platforms. You're always creating the balance, and you're always creating the efficacy, the performance, and location of what you're doing through your own systems, through your own brilliance, of your own prodigies, of your own design that you are in position of in that directions. The more you become the I, the more you become the am. The AM is the amplification system that processes you through the mind, alterates the state that you communicates the system, and truly understand how to use your film chips that's in position locations that you always in position of. Is a future adaptation of you always being in the presence of the now. That's all it is. Just the now. Okay? You're never out of the now. The future is always in the now. The future is always happening of the now itself. Okay? It's how you want to see the webbing system. It's how you want to see the schematic system. It's how you want to see the schematics of its drawing, or anything that you create in your mind of imagination. That's you, the imagination itself. That processes everything you bring in, which is the astral projections of yourself. Okay? That's all it is. It's not complicated, guys. Stop complicating life and just have fun. And the more you have fun, the more it gets easier what you're doing with your astral projections of yourself. You're just creating different lines and anomalies, but you're always you through programming you. This helps you to understand what's going on through you. Okay, so know exactly how you can come into this level. Okay, I'm just going to change the color. Fine. I'm just going to change the color now, right? Take out the lines of void, bring in the position lines of red, right? So I want to change it to red. Now it's red. Okay? That's all it is. Changing the design, right? So it's pretty easy to understand these things. So all you're doing is you're changing the image, you're changing the structure, you're changing the division, you're changing the location, you're changing the journey. You're always going through a journey, and you're always going through a destination. You have to, because you have to understand the oversoul has already gone through pi, through its body, which means the body has already been there through space and time. So you don't get confused. You quiet the mind, you calm the soul, and you realize, wow, this is amazing stuff. So I've already gone through 30 decades of my life already. That's already done through its equation. So why do I have to worry if I'm already there in set position of operation? That's 3 decades you've already gone through. That's 30 years already done. But you want to create stories around that. You want to confuse your anomaly. You don't want to understand how to process yourself. You don't want to wake up to yourself. You love creating stories. We don't live in stories. We're always just ourselves. So we don't lose the identity of what's coming at us, or how it's coming at us, or where it's coming from. It doesn't matter. You are always you, programming everything of you. And how you bring that in is how you justify yourself. And how to see that is all through the simulation itself. That's all it is. Through negation, all through travel, all through mechanism, all through programs that set lines of communication to its position to its operation, guys. Okay? The schematics is just memories which you already know through the emptiness of who you are. That's what the drawing is. The drawing is getting the body so it knows exactly where it's already been. And the drawing itself helps you to identify you. It's like training wheels. How to ride a bike. Oh my gosh, I know how to ride a bike. Oh my gosh, I know how to drive a bus. Oh my gosh, I know how to drive a Lamborghini. Oh my gosh, I know how to fly a plane. This is stuff you already know. Which means these are the places that your bodies have already been in real time. And the more you go through that projection, the more you identify yourself through actual projections of yourself. So you don't get confused where you are in your anomalies in space and time. And you don't confuse yourself where you are in your mind through altered state where you are in some position of perception. But this helps you to identify what you're doing through the structures of you, through the schematics that you constantly go through set position of operation. Okay? It's all coming to your memory and no memory, the access of memory you already have. Is knowing you've already gone through the travels of the astral projection of yourself all through time. Through the internal to the eternal of you. You identifying you. You're always you. You never left of anything of you. Now, the more you don't trust yourself, the more you lose the identity of self, you. You're not self-realizing you. You're not self-reliance of you. You're not finding the compassion of you. You're not identifying yourself anymore. You're losing the identity of you. Now you're putting yourself in story that lose all identities of what you're doing through story. You're not in a story. You're always you, creating stories, which means you're always there, which means you are the complete narrator of the story that you're going through. But you're always you, observing everything you're doing. What you bring in is astral projection of yourself. That astral projection is just a program that you're going through is a costume. Now, the astral projection could be the higher self, avatar, sim, oversoul, or the symbiote. It's all programs. but you are not a program. Okay? The body itself is the landmass that has to modify everything that has already gone through programming, through the higher self, through the avatar, through the sin. Basic understanding. Okay? That's the body. Now, this is the avatar, understanding what the body is, how it went through a program. Okay? Holding the sail. Okay? So the actual body is now the sail. And the program is identifying the body is a sail. See, every program is already set up. Every identification setting to process of communication is already set up. Everything is already set up in the body that's already gone through its equation in real time, which is all timelines all at once. So you're living cycles of all timelines at once, but you have to recognize all time frame, all time format in an algorithm, because everything runs in an algorithm itself through time that your body has already gone through the mind of inception of time itself, which means you've already done this already through the astral projections of yourself, through internal to the eternal force, to the external force that puts you in positions that you don't need to modify everything anymore because you've already gone through the infinity eight and set lines of travel. Now, once you get in that position, you understand you are the face recognition. All through travel, all through communication and setting. All right? That's already done everything through its equation. Face recognition. So I'm trying to help you guys so you can identify your system, how to go through time frame, time formats, time calculation times pi. You have to get out of story of everything that you see, which is everything else, unfortunately. So codification is number one, because that keeps you in the mind sharp of space and time. That keeps you in logging space, right? So let's get inside lines of operation line sequence. Somebody comes at me, right? Okay. So as they come to me, I'm seeing them right away in a story. Am I going to see that through an ego? Of course, because that's all they are. They're creating an alteration of ego that has no implications of me in that position. So I don't need to identify myself. I have to identify myself what I'm looking at. Is it helping me? Is it identifying me? No. So it's not identifying me in any way form because I know what I am. So I don't want to lose that identity of me. Because I lose the identity of me, I'm losing identifying me of who I am. So I don't recognize myself, I don't recognize me, and I don't recognize I of who I am. And that's how you create stories, and you lose identities of yourself. So once you realize there's no identity to lose, you realize everything you created has never existed, and it positions all ovals, but the mind, what does already existed, is the body that's already gone through space of time and travel. And that's the years that's already set up. There's no seconds, there's no minutes, there's no hours, there's no time frame, there's no locking frame, there's no time format, there's no space, there's no communication and calculation. There's nothing in its equation until you perceive consciousness. Okay, there's no line signals, there's no schematics, there's no drawing, there's no provision, there's no cycles, there's no yes, there's no no, there's no maybe. There's nothing there in calculations until you perceive consciousness. So if you're not bringing anything in, and to identify these things, is you're just observing that everything is operating in its own system. Okay? You're just looking at something so beautiful. You're just watching it, which means you're not in a program, but you're always you. Everywhere you go, you're just you. And what I mean by that is just the astral projection of you. But you are the observer of you. But you don't exist. But how you exist is how you bring things in. That's what exists. It's just the astral projections that the body has to implicate and understand through mind of inception that's already gone through its equation. So this helps you to get in positions how to balance that out, how you see that through identity force or force recognition, or pattern or face recognition. This helps you to understand that you're always you going through programs. Nothing else, nothing more. And how you see everybody else through the program itself, that's not going to benefit you at all because they're still in a story trying to identify what they aren't. Is identify what they always are. You're not in stories, guys. You've always been yourself. This is probably the most powerful, authentic set position that you can see in your time residence, time calculations, time position lines of high centers, intent modification. But once you identify who you are, nothing can stop you in set of operation. Because you're starting to understand the I and what it means to you. You understand what perceiving is and what you understand through consciousness. And you understand that your body has already gone through this already. So that alone is adjusting your system. And that puts you into all levels out of confusion, into the mind of inception. Knowing exactly, I understand I am the dreamer. I am in the dream that I'm processing through the dreaming. Okay? The dreamer, remember? Okay? In position of its dream. In position and setting sequence into the film strip of set design. That's how it works. Base, dream, dreaming through film strip. Okay? So we're out of this. Thoughts, action, emotions. Now we're in position of running the film strip of our operation. How to understand that and how to understand the body of what's going through its film strip of its design. Okay? How the body runs its own operation of its own system because it's already modified through its astral projection of itself. Through its pattern of its space recognition. Its space recognition of time frame. That times formats everything you've done through equation. What the body goes through is the frames of seconds, minutes, and hours, minutes, and set position to its location setting, to its frame itself. So, it's very powerful when we start to recognize our self-identities, our system. The most powerful thing you have to identify is to not lose the identity of you, programming, everything around your system. It's not about understanding the simulation. It's about you are not a simulation. You're bringing in a simulation. So it's kind of understanding that you are just the conscious awareness of the mind itself that is the imagination. That's all you are. That's all you are, right? So you exist how you bring things in. Now, what you bring in is the astral projections of yourself that brings in the simulation of its game. Now, understanding that is understanding how to control that. Is the characters, the players that you bring in the simulation, running the system through the operation of you, all through attraction. Okay? Running the box, running the triangulation, and running the film strip of design. That's 3 programs right there. Running all at once. All at once. All at once. Running all programs at once in one pattern of face recognition. All at once. Okay? Now, once you understand that you are always you running programs, then you can run programs and programs and programs, and then you can basically stop, delete, and run other programs or keep those programs running. So you have to process your cache and how many operating running programs that you're running all at once, so you can modify your systems all through set position and settings. All right? So how many files am I running in setting? How many file runnings am I in position? How many files am I in line settings of seconds? How many files am I running in clocking? How many files am I running in implication? How many files am I running in pyramids? How many files am I running in time frame? How many programs are running in file? And it's all running all at once, right? Going in the same direction of no confusion. Okay? Modify and set position of its operation. Okay? All in set position, all in directions of yin yang, guys. Where there's no confusion. There's no confusion if I do this. Because I know what I'm doing. But I'm always myself or programming. So it doesn't matter how I do it. It doesn't matter how you see it. It doesn't matter how you benefit. It's all over how you see things. That implicates everything in your mind and manipulation that the body has to process through because it's already gone through its space and it's already gone through its travel of its astral projection of itself. Now, once you send the sectors, vectors, and quadrants, that your astral projection has already been there, then you send coming in position, location, your Earth. That stands, perceives every location setting, that you already done everything already through all levels that put you in position, how to use your formulas of equations through all set position that gets you in position lines of balance. of your earth. Okay? So you already been here. You already been there. 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 You've been everywhere already. Now the body just has to go through it. Through the astra of itself. Because that's what you have always been through time. And understanding through a binary, understanding through its organ, because everything processes through its system of operation and cycle. It's no difference how you see it. 1 times 1 equals triangulation. How does 1 times 1 equals triangulation? Well, the body already knows, which is all levels of how it indicates the system, because this is just a program. So you're always you, and you realize, okay, so how do I understand the triangulation? How do I understand that position in its operation system? Well, okay, lines of screen adaptations. How do we go into triangulations? 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Docking centers, docking sequence, docking pattern, process lines of indication setting. There it is. There's the triangulation. Okay? So that indicates 3 grounds, 3 centers, 3 operation lines of travel. Okay? You're always creating schematics. You're always creating position. You're always creating line screen adaptation and travel. There's the umbrella. There's the ether. There's the core. There's the ferment in set position. So it doesn't matter how I set it, because it's always in set lines of the map that I always need to identify, because I've already gone through it. It's already through its equation. So I already know the formula. I already know the questions. I already know the answers. Question itself is the quantum itself that doesn't need to identify itself. So it doesn't need to understand. What it needs to understand is the body has already been there already. Through its seconds, minutes, hours, through its days, through its weeks, through its months, and its years, guys. So there's nothing really for you to do. Letting things go is identifying everything that you always are. It's just you are just always you, bringing programs of you. But how you understand that is understanding that through operation, through the mind of inception itself. Getting control of what you're doing, mind controlling what you're seeing, mind controlling what you're hearing, mind controlling what you're feeling, touching, tasting, and feeling. And affirmation setting all through travel, all through calculation system, all through set position and settings. That helps you identify. I don't need to understand my question anymore, because I already know the infinity of its answer, which is a constant continuous force, that I'm just an eternal external being trying to get position, just higher levels of involving myself, but I don't need to identify myself, because I already know who I am in that position of operation. That's it, through polarity. You guys are looking for balance. That's another story. Everything you say is a story. Everything you do is a story. Everything you say to yourself is a story. Everything you get in position of is a story. Stop creating stories and let everything go. And the more you understand that, the more you modify. Your body has already been through these years. It's already been through these decades. It's already been through these centuries in set position. See, if you've already been through 30 decades, that process line position is already. So the body just has to realize, wow, now I'm understanding why I'm seeing the vision of cortex of theta that I've already gone through, which means I know exactly what's going to happen in that particular day. That means my body's going to be there, which means the astral projection is already set up, because your stamp proceed already through jump scar. And jump scar realizes that you're catapulting your catalyst to put you in your elongated streaming into your longitude latitudes, put you in position locational systems. Knowing exactly how to energize yourself, knowing exactly how to vortex, knowing exactly how to time leap and time jump. And that's for the body to adjust into the astral projection of itself. Because we go through the mind that projects everything of our imagination. And that's how we bring things to life. Bringing things to life is just a running film strip that you are going through. That's all it is. But mastery of what you already know is through the body. But how you see the body is how you project your minds. And understanding that is a running film strip that's already set and designed through your construct or infant structure, which is already done. The directions, guys, the operation of your networking of existing you. So you're just coming back to you. You, always, always you. Everything you see, everything you do, everything you wear, everything you connect to, you go to your job, you're always, always you. All you're putting yourself into is running operations, running programs, because you understand how to mind alterate your system and know exactly what state you are in that particular second, minute, and hour. So you can understand how to modify yourself and understand what you're doing and realize the body has already been through its time. And that's going to help you to relax more so you don't get confused of what you're doing. But creating stories doesn't focus on your body, especially when you're trying to go through its equations. And you realize, why am I seeing myself from 3 p.m.? Interesting. Should I focus on that? No, I got to go back to the story. That's overriding you already. Knowing that your body's going to be there, and that particular second, that particular minute, that particular hour changes everything that you went through already through integration. That your body is already processed through the astral projection of itself. Okay? The astral projection is always here. Your body is going up to the steps to get there. And then you realize you're already there. Doesn't that simplify everything? Or does that confuse you at more levels? How you don't see yourself that's done everything through its umbrella, that you have done everything through its ether, how you guys have done everything through your earth, or how you've done everything through your solar systems, or your galaxies, or your universe in set position with operation. So there is nothing for you to do. And that's where you have to get out of completely out of everything, how you self-tell the operations are readjusting yourself, which is you. And the body understands the adjusting to its operation of its direction, or what's going on through you. But you're always, always you. You're never leaving yourself, because you're always identifying what's going on through the stories as you're constantly going through different levels of simulations. Through the characters. So it's about mastering your minds and alteration and knowing exactly the state that you're putting into the characters. And you want to see that there's a lot of things you can bring in through manifestation in frequency of balance. Once you balance out your body, you can balance out everything in your mind. Once your mind is balanced with your body is balanced with your mind, your soul. So it's all about understanding how to keep yourself in a line. And what you're in position of is you're matching frequencies that the body needs to understand. And once it understands, it really understands its position because it's already being understood, which means the body's already been there already through time of space of time. So either way you see it, it's all being specific. And understand that is all through program. And knowing that is that you're bringing in programs. But to identify you, you're not a program. You're always, always, always you. So when you're standing up, you're always you. Sitting down, you're always you. But as you're processing, you're creating programs. So you're observing and you're narrating and you're watching and you're overlooking and you're overseeing and you're connecting. But you are the narrator of your own story that you're going through. Okay? That you're processing through. It's nothing but a program. But you are always, always waking up to you. Okay? So that's what you have to understand. So if you're just you and you're not adding programs or anything in position, you're seeing everything that's operating its own system. And that's where it comes into its own set position. That's running its own intelligence of its own operation at real time. That giving you instructions, how to sit in the chair, how to pick up this, how to understand this, understand what a table is, understand what a bed is, understand what a car is. So the body can adjust and truly understand how power, everything around you is all levels of you, of attraction that you brought in through the astral projections of yourself, through operation. Understanding the energy, understanding the frequencies, understanding the formations, understanding the clockings, understanding the communications, understanding the directions. Okay? That's where you guys get very confused. When you constantly keep creating stories. No wonder you can't identify yourself. No wonder you lose identities of yourself. No wonder you can't focus on the future, because you're always in the future. If I got your timeline, screen centers, a set position, operation line sequence, let's get a square root like communication, right? Process lines, 3 highways, 6 convergence, directing 9 line centers into all communication lines apply, which means my body has already gone through all lines of all position astral projections of travel. Okay, so that means the body is going round and round and round to get where it needs to already, what it's already done. So the astral projection has done everything through its equation. So the body just has to understand what's going on as it's going through its seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, and years, all through setting, all through set position, all through tractions, all through calculation, all through schematics. Everything is just a drawing itself. The drawing helps you to guide you. Okay? The guidance itself is like a tarot card reading. Tarot cards, like I said, are just open windows of panels that have pictures on it. And that's just basically understanding where you are in frequency. So that's a guidance alone. The astral projection, you want to get technical, is giving the body breadcrumbs of what it's already gone through. So it understands its position on what it is through its unit, its core, its convergence, its allegiance, its alliance, and its divergence. Knowing it doesn't need to do anything because it's already processed everything already. It knows its inner light. It knows its external system. It knows its implication. It knows its mind of inception. The astral projection has done everything through its equation. Now, for you to modify these things, it's just you being you, going through programs every second, every minute, every hour of your day. Now that helps you understand how to process that in the 24 lines of clocking lines of screen. Okay, 24 grounds, 2,000 hours, 400 minutes. But that's up to you. But see, the more you trust yourself, the more you identify yourself, just being you. That's the most powerful thing that you can come into. So you don't get confused of what comes at you through programming. And that's what you're not understanding, is that you create this fantasy of the story because you can't understand the identity of you. So you lose the identity of you, but you're creating yourself through another story. So where is the equation of balance here? There isn't, especially if the body has already been there already. So why are you all confused? Because you're implicating yourself, creating stories that don't exist. You can't create a story if you're already existing of no story, which is no memory. And that's who you really truly are, is the emptiness that you already know, that have already the access that you are in position of, timeless, shapeless, formless, motionless, and senseless. But you have to understand how to process yourself through time, through format, through motion, through sense, through senseless, sense senseless, shape shapeless, form formless, motion motionless. That's all you are. And how you see that is all through a polarity, is all through polarity, is all through polarity, and is all through polarity, a travel. Okay? Balancing the convergent systems view is understanding everything in that communications, because you're not locked in time frame. You're not locked in a time format. You just have to identify what the astral projection has already done through its time. So the body knows exactly what it's already been through its equation. So it can really start to adjust, knowing that, wow, I don't see myself in the future. I've already been in the future, which means I'm always in the future. So the past, the present, and the future becomes one unity, one conscious of its awareness. That's where it is, Orion's belt. Now it's 3 settings of signal. Process lines of 4 over lines of 5. There's your hand. Right there, 5 fingers. Boom. Constellation, setting lines. Check what's coming in position. Whoa! Your cloud. My gosh, if that's a cloud, what's the roots? Oh my gosh, the tree. Wow. There's your constellation, there's your alignment, guys. Isn't that amazing? Now, what comes next? Look at this. Says position, location, your flux, your time, capacity, body capacitor. Woo! Understand that? Here comes a light bulb. There's your watts. Okay? So the cloud is now the brain. And position of past and present, location system is your eyes. So process of communication, the presence is the center of operation of you. The eye, the center eye is you. Okay? Past, present, future, all in one. One alignment, one setting, one operation, one sequence, one position, one cloud, one communication, one convergence, one positionalized setting. All unification of you to one conscious of awareness. All inside of you through clouds of indication. Through its intelligence formation setting. All through triangulation. All through flux. All through setting. All through calculation setting. Okay? So, there's a lot being said, which is already done. So the more you identify yourself, the more you identify the identity of you, the more you identify what's really going on with self-development of you, and you realize, wow, now I'm understanding why I see so many levels of me that have already gone through the astral projections of me, and this is all it is. Okay, let's just start at positions and settings. Process that position. Let's start with this. Okay. And then we come into this. Okay, we start with that. All right. All right. And then we go through this. And then we go through this. And then we go through this. I think you know what we're coming into now. Is the astral projections. That's already done everything through the body. The body is just the vessel. It's the operation setting all through travel. Okay? That's alter versions of you you've already gone through. So working with that and understanding that helps you to identify yourself. Okay? Helps you to really get in position of its locations of what you've already done through its equation. Okay? So it's really interesting when you look at that, right? Very fascinating stuff. Okay? Just showing you how powerful it is that you've done everything already through the astral projections of you. And that's where it gets very confusing to the body, because the body doesn't want to understand why. It just doesn't understand the how, not understanding it's always knowing the how, because it's always been itself. So once you more identify yourself, you just understand how to formulate and simulate yourself through travel. That you've already done this already through its equation. There you go. Astral projection of yourself. That's been everywhere already of its Earth rotation. Okay? The why becomes the how. So it's living the astral projection of yourself into the adjusting of its virtual reality of you. The AVR system, understanding your data, understanding your operation, understanding your system. Okay? So, this is going to help you to really, 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 really focus just on yourselves more. So you can truly understand how this all works inside that projects everything outside of inside of you. Okay? All right, we'll continue on in lines of screens, adaptation of the processing, getting communication settings all through travel. Adios.